What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another double part video. Super excited. We got an awesome video coming y'all's way today. Podcast series episode with Jensen Castle, who's a junior up at University of Kentucky. Very accomplished golfer. Played in the U.S. Open last summer. Jensen actually won the U.S. Women's Am last summer as well, which is crazy. And yeah, got back from Lexington 2 nights ago, had an awesome time there, hanging out, playing with Jensen. We got on the course for 18 holes up at the big blue course up there, which was awesome, super pure. Unfortunately, my game, not so pure. Definitely need to dial it in. I have a few big events coming up, actually, so definitely need to work on things a little bit. But yeah, match came down to the wire. Had an awesome time filming on the course, and then, got to do this podcast episode after, which, we dived into some super cool things. And I really hope y'all enjoy, hearing our conversations and hearing what Jensen has to say, especially, I found talking to her about the mental game of golf to be really cool. And, talking about her own podcast, which she just has so much going on. So super cool there. We'll hop to it in just a second. I wanted to take a second and, thank you guys for your support so far. And encourage you to, if you're watching this video right now, please drop a like and hit that subscribe button. It means the world to us and helps us out more than you know. So we can continue to travel to our guests, make awesome content, and churn it out for y'all. So yeah, thanks in advance. And, let's hop to the video. Hope you guys enjoy.
What's going on, guys? We have Jensen Castle on the podcast today. She was the highest ranked junior player to ever sign with the University of Kentucky. She was the 4th ranked player in her class, and she was a 2019 AJGA Junior All-American, as well as a state champion, winning by a record amount of 10 shots. It's pretty impressive.
Quite the list there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got done with the 18-hole match here at Golf Club of Kentucky. You'll have to check that out. Don't want to spoil too much, but
it's a pretty nice course.
Pretty nice course. Game was, not quite sharp, and it did come down to the wire, though.
It did indeed.
It's a good match.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on. I know you have a lot going on in a podcast of your own, which we can dive into. But yeah, super excited.
I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Any thoughts on the match? Not to divulge too much, but
I know it's kind of hard not to say too much about it. There were some good shots. There were some bad shots. There were some shanks occasionly.
Questionable shanks. Mud ball or shank, we don't know.
But it did come down to the last hole, and someone did clutch up.
I don't know if anyone clutched up.
Someone gave it away.
Yeah.
Someone did not get up and down.
Kind of diving into the first part, would love to take a step back. So yeah, what were your early days as an athlete like, and what transpired you to ultimately get into golf and choose golf?
So my mom used to work on the weekends, and that's when my dad would play golf. So my sister and I we were like 2 and 3. And so I started playing golf when I was 2 and 3, and that's because my mom used to work on the weekends, so my dad took us, and that's what he did. Yeah. And he would bribe us with candy bars and sodas. So he'd drop a ball in the middle of the fairway, and depending on if you got the ball in the hole, which, as long as you tried, basically, didn't give up. That was the whole point of that. You got the ball in the hole, you got to choose between a candy bar or a soda. And so
what was your go-to?
I'd start out with candy bar, and then, I'm thirsty. So by hole 2,
alternate, yeah.
By hole 2, I'd play the hole 2 and 1, and then I'd have a candy bar and a soda, and then I'd sit for a few holes, digest it.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I want another one. And then you guys start back up. But no, it was fun. And since then, I played all the sports, like growing up, basketball, soccer, whatever. And I just fell in love with golf and how hard the sport is. You can always get better. Yeah,
now you're candy bars and sodas. Jackson, move your head a little bit. Move to a USAM trophy.
Yeah.
So you climbed to be the number 4 ranked player in your class. What was kind of the recruiting process like for you in the schools you looked at? Obviously, you wound up here at Kentucky, but what were some of the other schools you really liked?
So a lot of the accolades, I started playing really good golf really late. That's what you can tell from it. So early on, I didn't have a ton of big offers or looking at a lot of big schools. So towards the end, obviously, a lot of the big schools had their scholarships gone. So Kentucky was one of the biggest schools I had left that I had an offer from. And so I looked at USF, USC, and a few others here and there. But I just fell in love with Kentucky. I fell in love with the coaches and the team environment. And I mean, I love how perfect distance away it is from home, where it's not like my parents are going to see me anytime soon, but like also like I can do the drive in a day.
Yeah.
But this is home now, and I'm super happy, minus the weather in the winter, but
Yeah.
get through it.
Yeah. Do you think Kentucky's like changed at all as a program since, you signed and now you've been here 3 years?
Yes, definitely. My recruiting class, we had 4 girls come in, and 2 of them unfortunately already left, but Marissa and I have still been here, and I feel like the program has just gotten better, and the coaches are doing a great job recruiting awesome girls, and like we all bring different pieces to the game, so we all feed off of each other in ways and make each other better, and every year we've gotten better and better just because of that. So I think the program's definitely gotten a lot better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think we wanted to dive into this past summer a little bit now. You did win this big trophy behind us at the U.S. Women's Am. But before that, you played in the U.S. Open, and that was at the Olympic Club in San Francisco. And you were not quite as successful, we could say, there as the U.S.
Thanks, Jackson.
And,
Thanks.
Well, we just wanted to dive a little bit into that and kind of what that event was like.
I mean, that's everyone's dream to play in the U.S. Women's Open at some point. The golf course was extremely difficult, so it'd be U.S. Open conditions that you would think. But it was a great learning lesson. I've never been to California, so it was super cool to be on the West Coast. And just to see and be around such good professional golfers and see what it's like on the road, pretty much. Obviously, didn't play that well. I was extremely burnt out going into the event, so that was not very ideal.
Yeah, burnout from like Kentucky golf, or?
Yeah, just burn out from all the events leading up to it. That was our first season where we actually had an SEC championship, where we actually had a spring season, and no one knew what it was. Balancing school. Marissa and I did the U.S. Women's Floorball, which was an awesome event. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that was right before SECs, so I mean we missed that whole week, and then we missed the following week for SECs, and then you have the U.S. Women's Open qualifier. That's 2 days, 3 days. So just balancing all that, and then regionals and nationals, and then after nationals, I came home for 3 days and left for California. That's just a lot of high pressure golf.
How are you fitting like school and a social life in there? That's a lot of golf.
It is hard to balance all of that. Social life for me, I do a really good job of staying in contact with people, especially from home, like via cell phone, via FaceTime. So I don't find that hard because I'm a big texter, so I can make time. You know. But school has definitely been a little difficult. Especially that being our first spring season, just balancing regionals, SECs, like week-long competitions. But luckily, as long as you develop a relationship with your professor, I mean, they're very lenient and understanding. So that was super helpful.
Yeah. And kind of going back to that U.S. Open, what was it like? I've lived in San Francisco for a few years, and I was supposed to work at Olympic, and COVID kind of canceled that for me, but never got out there. So what was that course like and the experience there like?
The course was extremely difficult. Rough was extremely thick, but the golf course itself, the layout was also extremely difficult. Whereas the fairways, say it would be a dogleg right, the fairways would slope the opposite direction. So it would be hard to hold the ball in the fairway. So that made it extremely difficult, especially when you're missing the fairway in the roughs like 3 or 4 inches deep. But it was a great experience. Played with a few professionals like Allison Lee, Lexi Thompson, Paula Creamer, like a lot of big names.
That's cool. Does that intimidate you, or?
It does not intimidate me because they're just names. At the end of the day, they're still people.
Me and Jackson may or may not have intimidated you out there. Intimidated you out there today, though.
I know. I can't believe the smack talking is going to continue. They weren't. No intimidation. That's for sure. Little luck, but.
Hey, what's good, guys? Sorry about the quick break in the action. Unfortunately, our audio got super sketchy for like 5 or 10 minutes in there. So we had to cut that out. But what y'all missed, Jensen really talked about her time last summer between the U.S. Open at Olympic and the U.S. Am, which she obviously won, where she was actually sidelined that whole time with a rib injury, which she thinks she got from that super thick rough at Olympic, which she mentioned earlier. Yeah, she said it hurt to breathe, it hurt to talk, hurt to get out of bed. So her doctor didn't let her touch a golf club until 2 days before the event, until that U.S. Am. So no time for practice, no time for prep work. And, obviously she got the dub. So let's hop back to it and hear about that U.S. Am and how she got the win.
When sign my scorecard come out, they do the awards. And then there's this 12 for 2 playoff. They do 3 groups of 4. And I was in the second group, and Marissa was in the third. And we watched the first group. It's a par 3.
Yeah.
Number 1 was. And so we watched the first group go. No one makes birdie.
Yeah.
And you got 2 pars and 2 bogeys. I'm like, okay, birdie, you're in, you know. And coming off of 18, I knew, like, I don't know how the putt didn't go in. Like, I was stressed that too. Like, great putt. I lipped out. I mean, whatever. So I knew, like, everything equals out. Like, that's my mindset with golf. So I wasn't worried about the playoff. You know, also, I didn't even think I'd make it this far. So I was playing one more hole than I thought I was going to play.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I hit it to about 8 feet, make my 8-footer, and I'm in there for birdie. I'm like, okay, you know, like now I just got to make sure in the last group there's not 2 birdies. So sure enough, Marissa hits it about 12 feet, and then the other girls everywhere else. Yeah. And so Marissa's about to putt, and she's the only one putting for birdie left. Yeah. So I know I'm safe. Yeah. And I get chills talking about it. Like, it was so special. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm sitting here recording it. I'm like, please go in. Yeah. And she makes it, and like, we go crazy. And so sure enough, you know, 2 Kentucky Wildcats get through this 12 for 2 playoff. Yeah. And it was so special. But
that's wild. Yeah, you kind of mentioned this on the course a few times. You have this mindset, like everything kind of evens out.
Did not even out today, but.
But like I feel like that's kind of a rare, good mental mindset. I know me and Jackson both have kind of struggled with that part of the game in the past. But I don't know, like how do you, in these big events, like how do you really tell yourself that? Like it's easy to say, but in that moment when you're on the playoff tee.
It definitely sounds like a comment an overthinker would think. But I mean, definitely, I mean, you just got to trust it. I mean, like even with life, like some days you have really good days, you know, where like you drop something and you catch it like when you try to. Some days you just don't. Yeah. You have good and bad days with life. You have good and bad days with golf. So I think those go together in correlation where at the end of the day, like everything's going to even out. Yeah. Like, you know, you're going to stub your toe one day and the other day you're not, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does, yeah.
So for me, like, you're gonna hit it tight every once in a while, you know? Yeah. And you're probably gonna miss some of those every once in a while. But then you're gonna chip in on 10. You're gonna chip in, you know, it's amazing. Yeah. If you take a step back and look at it from a big picture of like some of the breaks that you get on the golf course that could go the other way. You know what I mean? So it's more of like a positive outlook than a negative. Yeah. But I mean, you're also going to be more accepting that you can only control so much. So like when you get a bad kick, like you couldn't have done anything different. You know what I mean? Like it's going to happen. Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to try to take that with me. I feel like it's easier said than done, especially for me and you. But definitely.
I don't know why you're grouping me into this category with me and you here.
Hey, we've talked about that. We've talked about that a lot.
You're right. Yeah, we could transition to the match play portion. Obviously, in the first round, you played the number 2 overall seed, but you didn't seem to have many issues winning 3 and 2. What was kind of I'm assuming you weren't feeling much pressure going into it, knowing you know.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I kind of forgot I was the number 2 seed, but everyone knows match play is anyone's game. No numbers at all. Birdies win, and more so with match play, it's about staying in position, fairways and greens, and by doing that consistently, you put more pressure on the other person. Whereas, like, you know, I'm missing a ton of greens. It's super stressful for me to get up and down. Whereas if I just hit a green, you just 2-putt and get out of there. If it goes in, it goes in. Yeah. So I think it just depends on the match play. But she and I had fun. I played pretty solid, and like I said, the more golf I played, the better I got throughout the week, just because I hadn't touched a club in so long. But it was fun, and she's not really the number 2 seed in the world, you know. So it's amazing how like one tournament just gives you these numbers and you play. Like it's not accurate. Yeah.
You said she and I had fun. Like during these matches, are you and you know, whoever you're playing, are you all like you know, cutting it up, as you like to say, or
yes,
joking around, or is there trash talk, or like no talk whatsoever?
No, definitely no trash talk. Maybe if I was out there with you guys or something. She and I would talk, you know, in between shots, cut up, get to know each other. I mean, she and I didn't really make any jokes. Like that was one of the most serious matches I've played, match play.
Not a lot of cutting up.
No, not a lot of cutting up. But you know, she and I got to know each other a little bit and just like see a different perspective. I mean, she played solid, and I could see how she was number 2 for the tournament. But match play is all about the least amount of stress and hitting fairways and greens.
So kind of going on from there, you did have a little more, you know, some tighter matches going forward, the round of 32 against Sophie Linder, who won 4 consecutive holes to go 2 up at the end of the front 9. So yeah, you obviously battled back and, you know, trophies back there. So you obviously won if you didn't know already. But yeah, can you talk a little about being down and, clawing your way back?
Honestly, this is a great opportunity for me to talk about some of the downside bad habits of match play. One little shot on 6 made me really mad, and I got a bad break, and I lost the hole, and I wasn't playing my game at that point. I was playing hers, and as a result of that, I lose 4 holes in a row. Like, I was 2 up going into that. Going 2 up and going into 6, and one hole, one thought cost me that front 9, and I make the turn. I'm 2 back from her, and I'm like, at that point, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, the little things are making me bad. What do you tell yourself at that point? Yeah. Oh, I took a step back, and I'm like, all I think about is number 6, and I'm like, why am I letting that one little shot affect me still? Like, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can go back and change. You got to let it go, and every hole is an opportunity, so you can't continue to hold on to that thought. And so I took a step back and did that, and reevaluated the whole situation, and started playing my game and not hers, which was just fairways and greens and giving myself opportunities. And as a result, like, when you play your game, it's different. Yeah. Coming down the stretch for that match, though, is something I'll never forget. I was 1 up with going into 17, and I go up there, and I have a plugged ball in the bunker. And I mean, I have a video of me hitting this shot, and like, it is unbelievable. And I got up and down, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, the fact that I just tied her for this. And then we go to 18, and I have a 12-footer for birdie, and she has a 7-footer for birdie. And I put first, obviously, because I'm out. So, like, knowing that I had to make this for it to end, I mean, it was crazy. And knowing you got up and down the hole before and things even out. Yeah, so, so maybe I could, you're using that as a negative thought, no. But that was one of the most, like, insane, like, up and down matches I've played. Yeah, that's awesome.
You won your quarterfinals match, kind of like the round of 32 pretty easily, or round of 64, I should say, pretty easily, 6-5. That's a big win there. But then the next match was tight again, and you actually went to extra holes. Can you talk about that one? Yes, that match was also insane. I played Rachel Heck, and she and I are good friends. We played on the Wyndham Cup and AJGA together. And going into the match, I got very little sleep because I was so excited of how fun it was going to be. Match play is anyone's ball game, and everyone knows that. But she and I talked before the round, and I was like, look, like, let's just go out there, have fun, show what girls golf's about. Like, we're not going to beat each other's brains in, and like, we want to laugh and smile, know. And so she and I did that, and we played awesome golf. I think we both had 6 birdies. Wow. And I lost the first hole, and I was never up or tied after that. So, and I gave her a lot of solid putts that I shouldn't have. Like, there was number 5. I hit it to about 8 feet down the hill, and she hit it about 5 feet for birdie. And I just was like, you're good. Like, you know what I mean? I make an 8-footer. I'm like, here you go. So she really didn't put that many 5-footers. 6-footers or 4-footers, like I just gave them to her. We were playing very considerate golf. But coming down the stretch, she chipped in on 16. Everything evens out. She bladed it, and she laughs and tells you about it. Bladed or thinned it? That's the same thing. I mean, it was a low. It was going hard. It was going hard. So it hits a pin, drops, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I was going to win that hole. But it doesn't matter. Everything evens out, and then on 18, I made her putt a 4-footer. She had a 20 feet and putted it at 4 feet, and here I am in my head. Like, I was like, well, this was fun. Like, thanks, Doc, for letting me be here. Sure enough, she missed it. Yeah, hadn't seen it all day, right? No, she hasn't seen a 4-footer all day, because I've given them to her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we're even. Like, we're literally even. Like, I haven't been even with her all day. So right there, that already felt like a win. Like, I was like, I'm up. I like teeing off first. So I teed off first, like that stuff, little things. And so as soon as I walked off 18, like, I knew I had it, because like that was an opportunity that I didn't have, and like I don't give second chances. Like, so sure enough, I hit a great drive. She hit her drive a little left, and then I chipped it, a poor chip. I mean, had about 15, 18 feet, and then she chipped it to about 12, maybe 10. And I made my breaking left to right footer, and hers lipped. And then that was it. Wow. That was the finals. Wow. On to the finals. But it was one of the best matches I've ever played. Like, for us to both have 6 birdies,
and for one person to only be one up, like that's insane.
Yeah. And no, I'm just considering y'all are like good friends off the course
Right,
too,
course.
and
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was special.
still good friends after the.
We are,
after the
yeah.
round?
We
That's
were
good.
on the Curtis Cup team together, and I saw her a few weeks ago for the Curtis Cup practice session, and I mean, she's a special girl. She's a good person.
That's awesome. We'll get into the Curtis Cup in a second. Do you want to finish up talking about the final
Yeah,
match?
so once again in the finals match, you were down for a good portion of it. You were 2 down after the morning 18, but then you rallied. You won 3 of your first 4 holes in the afternoon. Was there kind of a button you pressed, like when you lost those 4 holes earlier in match play, or?
Yeah, there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows. So I actually fell down a hill on 6.
Wow.
I fell down a hill and I didn't fall, I slid.
Yeah.
And so I had these awful grass stains on my butt. And so this random lady gave me a skirt, and she gave me the skirt on 12. And after that,
Should we give her the trophy?
after that, I lost every single hole. I could not hit the ball straight. And I
I thought you were gonna say you turned it on after that.
no, that's when I started losing
Yeah,
holes.
yeah.
I was 2 up through 12,
Yeah.
and then I put the skirt on, and I didn't have a lot. I mean, it's not my skirt,
Yeah,
I don't have any confidence in this. And after that, and next thing I know, I'm on 18, I'm 2 down, and I'm like, well, this is tough. There went
Yeah.
that. Then I make the turn, they washed my skirt for me, they cleaned it up. I put my skirt back on, and I was confident in it, and I went out and just played my game.
Yeah, yeah.
Little behind the scenes action for you.
So it's really just all in the attire.
Yep. Feel good, play good, right? Something like that.
I always get in my head night before a tournament, what am I gonna wear? And now I'm just gonna be bugging out next tournament.
You did say, though, that when you were on the 35th hole, you didn't even really know that was to win the match on that
No.
hole.
I
So that's how.
That's how invested I was in
Yeah.
that. I was so invested in fairways, greens, my game, not hers, and giving myself looks that I didn't. I made it, and I threw my hands up, whatever, and everyone goes crazy. And next thing you know, everyone's pulling me aside, and they're like, Jensen, you won. I'm like, what? No way.
Yeah, we're actually gonna pull up this quick 2-minute YouTube clip of kind of mixtape of the USAM and video of you winning.
Okay.
After this playoff,
That is definitely a playoff.
against the 63rd and the 64th seed.
That's such a good putt.
And
She knew it.
oh my
Yep.
gosh,
Little wave.
Oh, when we're sitting, oh my gosh, that is so good. And that's my other teammate, Lainey.
I couldn't let her go, huh?
Okay, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Haven't seen it before?
No, I haven't seen this. I mean, I remember the shots, obviously.
Yeah.
That shot was so good.
What was that?
5.
Intense, fiery look on her face, that's for sure.
That's what I
You
look like
so
today.
locked in. That's,
No wonder you don't know what hole you're on.
That's the playoff with. Look at that drive. I thought I drove it. I thought I drove the green.
I'm just gonna say we did not see that intense look too much. That it's a little more different switch, or
Yeah, I wasn't worried about it.
Took it easy on us.
I wasn't as serious today. It was more of cutting up, having fun.
cutting up.
Castle, a rising star at the University of Kentucky, looks to capture her first USGA championship.
Oh, this is so cool.
Back out to the par 3 first, the 19th hole, and
Oh, this is a good shot too.
this afternoon for
A lot of good shots.
Yep.
Are there any bad shots in there?
Oh,
I mean,
yep.
They don't
Few
show
mud
that.
balls.
I'm not seeing it.
Few mud balls. Obviously, they're showing the highlights, thankfully.
you need breaks like that when you're gonna
That
Look
did
at
not
that,
hit the tree.
over the
That
tree.
did not hit the tree.
when it's go time, she's all
Let's.
in. She's
Oh yeah.
What is that?
I was flexing, Yep. This is
There
quality.
it is.
I had no idea. Next thing you know, I'm ready to go next
When do
hole.
you know right now?
Right now.
Okay.
When she starts walking with her hands open, I'm like, oh God.
She hugging me right now.
Did I
What
win
if
or
it's
lose?
just good putt, give you a hug?
And then my assistant flew there and no one told me. It was the coolest thing ever.
21st, U.S. Women's Amateur.
That's awesome. You gotta still have the medal too. Where
I
do
do
you, where
have
do
the
you
medal.
have
That is my room.
Got it.
Look, you can see me flexing how heavy that trophy is. The thing is massive. Oh wow, that was a really cool video. I'm so glad I saw that. It just gave me so much confidence after that after that match out there.
Yeah, we kind of want to transition into the Curtis Cup, which was just later that same month, right, in August.
Yeah.
That was
Week
Was
and
that
a
a
half
pretty quick
before.
transition?
Yeah. Very, very quick. But in a way, it was a good thing because there wasn't a lot of hype for it. They
Yeah.
sent me this Curtis Cup stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then a few weeks later, I'm getting on a plane and having no idea what the Curtis Cup is. I mean, only hearing so much about it.
Yeah.
knowing I'm like, wow, I'm actually on the team. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
And between the AM and the Curtis Cup, I don't know, we kind of talked about this on the course. You just came straight back and went to work, or what was that time like?
Well, I told the doctor that I wouldn't touch a club. So after the AM, I came back. I drove back.
Had to mend some fences there?
No, I didn't touch a club for 5 days after the AM between the Curtis Cup, just because I knew my rib. Like I was in a lot of pain from the AM. And so I worked like 3 or 4 days as soon as I got back. And then I went on a trip with one of my friends, North Carolina, which was a weird.
We're out in North Carolina.
Asheville.
Oh, nice.
Yep. It was a crazy, it's just out of nowhere. Like I didn't think I'd win the AM, Next thing you know, I'm in the middle of Asheville doing these interviews via Zoom in the middle of my supposed to be like fun break.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing I would change about it. And I took 5 days off right after the AM just because my rib, doctor told me to, whatever. And then next thing you know, I come back to school, do team pictures. Next thing you know, I'm catching a flight to Wales, and I still don't think I could tell you where that is on the map.
I definitely can.
I mean, it's just amazing how fast my life changed after the AM.
Yeah. I mean, you told me in the card earlier when the guy handed you the trophy, he said, like, you have no idea how much your life is about to change.
Your life's going to change overnight. And I'm like, whatever, bro. Like, just give me the trophy. No, and sure enough, like, it has. And it's been super cool to see, you know, especially for women's golf.
Yeah. Now, you even told me you worked, what were you doing, just kind of a cart girl?
Yeah. So I was a cart girl at Columbia Country Club, and then I also worked at Indian River a little bit. The days that I wasn't working at Columbia, I was working at Indian River. And what I normally do is just open in the morning from like 5 to like 1 and then practice the rest of the day. Yeah. And obviously I had this rib injury. I come back from the open, have this rib injury, and they're like, don't touch a club. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And so all these guys at the club, they see me in all this Kentucky gear. They're like, oh, you're a big fan. And I'm like sarcastic. I'm like, yeah, big fan. Like dream school. Dream school. And then next thing you know, I win the AM. And, they threw this huge party at my work. Yeah. They had TVs going, and it was really cool. Someone actually recorded it, which was special.
Did they know you actually even played golf seriously before that?
I mean, there was rumors that they're like, oh yeah, she plays, but no one had ever seen me touch a club. Yeah. No one had ever seen that many results from me because I obviously wasn't playing, and no one was invested to be like, oh, what is she doing? What's her schedule? Yeah. So a lot of them, when I came back to work, they're like, Jensen, I didn't even know you played. Like, you played for Kentucky? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I don't really go out there and talk about it, unless you ask. Yeah. Like, I thought you were just a cart girl.
Said I was a big fan, yeah.
I was like, yeah, big fan. It was this running joke for a while. They're like, Jensen, you play? I'm like, no.
Can transition to more about the Curtis Cup and playing Wales.
Yeah, so had you ever even been over there and to that part of the world and played before?
No, so, oh my gosh, what a cluster. I barely got my passport.
Really?
So I ordered a passport at the beginning of COVID, and literally 3 days before COVID, and I didn't get my passport for like a year and a half. So luckily I had the passport, and that was my first time out of the country. First time don't even get me started on how difficult time change is. But it was very interesting to see how the time in Wales was so different than, the U.S. So I'd be going to bed or waking up, and next thing you know, my friends are just getting their day started, or they're going to bed, and I'm like, how am I supposed to be friends with you? How can I even talk to you? You're going to bed. So it's super cool to see what it's like on the other side of the world, for sure. Yeah. But what was really cool is the other team. We became really good friends with the other team.
Really?
After they lost that night, we were all upstairs in our team room, and next thing you know, one of the girls, the girl I played in the singles match actually, she comes walking in with what is it? Like a speaker on her shoulder, blaring music, and music I've never heard of because they're from England. I'm like, what in the world is this crap? And we all sat there and partied together the last night at Curtis Cup. And just to see that, it goes beyond golf, we're there for each other.
What was it, like bagpipes kind of thing? Or what was she?
it was like some type of party music out there, like alternative,
I have 3 Irish teammates, and they play disco.
That's exactly. It was like bagpipes. It was like dancing, getting pumped up. That song "Pump It Up."
Yeah.
That was one of the songs.
Okay, you were making it seem like they were playing some
foreign
outlandish
music, that's for sure.
What do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of rap, and I listen to country.
What rappers?
All of them, like Kevin Gates, Pop Smoke,
Kanye or?
No, Kanye's terrible. So is Drake.
I agree with
that's a
that.
bold
I agree with that.
Those two just don't make the list, but and then I love country, so I listen to all the country.
Yeah.
I'm really good. Every Friday, it's my favorite day of the week. It's like all the music drops that night.
Yeah, yeah.
Albums. So I wake up Friday super early, maybe at midnight.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, who dropped songs today? Like very invested in music.
That's me. No, me and Jackson have been cutting it up before. He'll put on some questionable music, in my opinion. But,
I listen a little more like laid back.
you call it folk, right? Isn't that what you consider
Folk,
it?
like indie. Jensen's giving me a look.
No, me and Jackson were driving down to Myrtle last summer. I'd never heard this out of him before. Before it was like strictly country and rap, and he pulls out some
That's what college will do to you.
Yeah, literally.
No, he hadn't even been to college at this point.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like the idea.
How did you get on this?
The idea of going
My
to college.
dad, he listens to it, and I guess he kind of.
No, Grand Canyon by the Grand Canyon by the Drive-By Truckers.
Give
We'll
it a
put y'all on. That's our
Oh my
go-to
gosh.
song now.
Do you want to transition to a little bit of off the course?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously we've played a lot of golf with you, talked a lot of golf, but would love to, learn more about who you are off the course, what you like to spend your time doing.
So I love working out. Obviously, golf's not that much of a workout, but I enjoy working out. I also love walking. I realized that before my rib is I had this goal of 10,000 steps every day for a whole year.
Yeah.
And, I did it, but I ended up falling in love with just walking,
Yeah.
like with music or with someone else. Like, it's amazing how little you can do just to go on a walk. You know what I mean? I'll walk 6-7 miles just getting lost.
Yeah. So you prefer walking over carts any day?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think you just see more parts of the golf course,
Yeah.
And I get getting in a golf cart to play a quick round or whatever. There's times for both, but walking without golf is just fun for me. You know what I mean? Like, just going on a walk, literally just going on a walk is just fun.
Has walking and working out, has that always been a passion, or is that kind of come
Working
along
out
as the
has.
golf games?
Yeah,
Okay,
working
so-
out has, but walking, I just had this weird goal. I'm not even big into that whole New Year's resolution
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do 10,000 steps every single day because I got this Apple Watch and I'm super obsessive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can track my steps.
Did
So,
you hit it?
Yeah. So I
Average or literally
no,
every day?
I literally had. This is what kills me. I literally had 10,000 steps from January 14th. I started the goal pretty late. So January 14th until November something. I closed every single one of my rings. Had 10,000 steps every single day.
Wow.
And then, unfortunately, my doctor put an end to that because my rib wasn't getting better. And the only time my rib was hurting was when I walked. So they're like, Jensen, quit with the steps. Like, we're going to take that watch away. Yeah, we're going to take the watch away. My teammates, oh my gosh, they get so mad at me.
Ever any 11:45 p.m.
I'm literally
miles?
pacing my
Yeah.
room. Like, especially in the winter of last year,
Yeah.
whenever I started it, I would pace my room for an hour just to get the steps because
Yeah.
there's snow on the ground. Like, I'm not going on
Yeah.
a walk. I'm not going on a treadmill, that's for sure.
Is your roommate kind of like, what are you doing over there?
No, they knew what I was doing,
Yeah.
and they're like, Jensen, like, you're insane.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It's 11:45. Or standing up and 11 and being like, oh my gosh, I need my stand goal. Like,
Yeah.
just pacing
Oh,
room to get a
stand
stand
goal
goal.
too?
Yeah, like
That's a lot of goals on that thing.
I closed every single one on my watch for 285 days, and then I didn't close it one day. And you would
Worst
have thought
day
the
of your
world.
life?
Yeah, you would have thought the world ended. And so now, luckily, I've taken a step back. Like, haven't closed my ring yet, but I will tonight.
I saw you checking it today on the course, kind of. I was like,
I
what is
was
she
like,
doing over there?
I was wondering how many steps I have. I have
Yeah.
like 9,500. So I should be able to get 500 steps by the end of the night.
I was offline quite a bit, so I could be pushing 15K
Yeah.
right about now.
They were not playing card golf, that's for sure.
So you also started a podcast similar to us. What has that kind of been like? You're pretty recent to it as well. You have not done video, but what is your goal with that podcast?
So I did just recently start a podcast. Imagine balancing everything on top of a podcast. But
10,000 steps podcast.
Yeah, imagine like 10,000 steps. That's a killer. No. But I started this podcast with Megan Fertney out of Duke, and it was more so to help with the junior golf transition into college golf.
Yeah.
To answer the unanswered questions that people want to know, like where do you live? Also to help promote the schools. So we're asking that right now we're doing the SEC series.
Yeah.
So we're asking every one person from each SEC school and asking them questions, and also helping promote the school in a way that you weren't even interested in Alabama. Next thing you know, you're like, dang, like they do that.
Yeah,
That's so
that's
cool.
cool.
But it's been very helpful for the younger generation just to know some of those. We asked about qualifying. We asked about dorm life. Where do you live?
Yeah.
teammates, like, you know, and then we also touch on, like, what would you, if you could go back and change your college career, like, what would you change? Like, going into college, what would you tell yourself? And we've had a lot of good success with it so far. A lot of good feedback. And honestly, the idea started, I realized after the AM that we learned so much in college as college golfers.
Yeah.
I mean, you would know as well. Like, you learn so much, you learn different points of views, you know, and being able to share that with how much we learn, like such valuable information would be so important. Not even just with the younger generation, just like with other college golfers. You know? I think that's so important. And just using that as an outlet just to talk about it, it's been super cool. It's been interesting as well for me just to hear other people's stories.
Yeah.
You know, we touch on every person we interview. It's not only about just the college life. You know, they've done things in their past, like other tournaments, success in other tournaments, like their mindset going into those tournaments, stuff like that. So it's been really cool just to learn about some of my competitors, as well as like seeing a different perspective to the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone plays for different reasons.
Definitely. I mean, for me personally, listening to y'all's episodes, like, I was at a time in my life, like early on in my senior year of high school, when I thought about playing college golf. I could have played like lower end D1, high end D3, and I just had no information. Like, I'm good friends with Jackson. We have a good friend the year above us who is a freshman and he plays at Cornell. But I had no idea, you know, dorm life, teammates. I didn't know what any of that would look like. So definitely going back, if I had like had something like this to listen to, it would have been really helpful.
And obviously right now we're only doing the SEC school. An episode drops every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we wish we could produce more, but between the editing and our schedules, like,
The editing's crazy.
yeah, I mean, he can vouch for me. Like,
I
editing
can
is like
attest.
4 to like 8 hours.
I don't edit much. I just come on the podcast. So.
And it takes
I can tell from today.
4 to 8 hours if you don't delete all your content after finishing it. Which
Like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
And it's important to do it the right way too, because you know you don't want to mess that up for people to listen. But it's been interesting for the editing process. But we drop one every 2 weeks, and it's just a matter of time. Right now, we don't know what our next step's going to be. Like I said, right now we're doing the SEC. We have 6 schools left, and then we could potentially go to ACC. We could start interviewing coaches.
Yeah.
You know, what do you look for in a player?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know someone has potential? Like, those are awesome questions to
Yeah,
ask
definitely.
big SEC schools. You know, talk to TaylorMade reps, you know, talk to professional, like Nelly Corda, you know, like stuff like that. We don't know which direction we're going to take it in yet.
Yeah.
But there's just so much that we could do. You know, she and I both know people in different types of people.
Yeah.
Which, you know, just being able to ask some questions, like, so important.
But yeah.
That's called Tee to Green, so go check that out.
Definitely go check that out.
Thank you for my promotion back there. Yes, go check it out.
So obviously we're still pretty new to this, but we like to wrap things up by what we call the double par questions. There are 8 of them because double par on a par 4
Yeah, I got it.
is 8.
You don't want to make that number.
Four.
But yeah, we asked this to everyone. What would your dream foursome be?
I hate this question.
Great.
I mean,
We told this to Zach. We're welcome to be part of it if that's.
yeah, you know, maybe that's a safe answer. No, I'd probably do, you know, I think Tiger, obviously everyone want to play with Tiger.
Yeah.
Phil Mickelson I like. And why not, I want to play with Yuko Sasso. She and I are good friends.
Yeah.
And she's a stud, and like, she's so funny.
Yeah.
I would play with her. She just won the Women's Open at Olympic.
Wow. All right, second question here. You'll be playing in your first ANWA, which is the Augusta National Women's Am. For those of y'all that don't know, this upcoming April. So what's your favorite Masters memory and the thing you're looking forward to most about that event?
Honestly, for the event, I'm just looking forward to like being a part of history. You know what I mean? This is only its 3rd year, and there's just, I mean, it's such a prestigious event. You're playing with awesome players. Like, that's so cool just to being able to play Augusta National, play practice round or not. I mean, just to be able to do that special. My favorite memory would probably be when Tiger Woods chipped in on whatever hole that was.
16.
Yes, that's 16. I almost said 16.
Yeah.
But when he chipped in, and obviously, especially him being able to come back and win it a few years ago, like that changed the game. You know what I mean? So it's just seeing that. I mean, there's just, like I said, so much history at Augusta. Like, that's so cool to be a part of.
Yeah. You've already played at Augusta, though, right?
I did get to play Augusta in December, which was so cool to see. And there's so many hills that you don't even realize.
Yeah. We were actually talking about that with Zach.
Zach.
Yeah. Would you say it's like the best course you've ever played, or?
I mean,
Probably not in December, maybe.
no, it was pure. It was really pure. It was a great golf course, but for me, like, all golf courses are the same. You know, there's good and bad holes. Obviously, with Augusta, there's so much more history than, Big Blue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a great golf course to play, and just to be able to, like, see the holes in person, not on television,
Yeah.
without the stands up, and see it for what it is, that was really cool. But favorite course, sure, why not?
So you're from Columbia, South Carolina, which is where the University of South Carolina is. But you came to school at UK, University of Kentucky. Which one would you say is the better college town?
This is, I mean, I guess.
Maybe biased?
Yeah, I guess Kentucky. Just because I go to school here, but University of South Carolina has a good college campus as well. I like Kentucky's because it's more together. You're not walking all over. But obviously I'm biased. Like Kentucky, like go Pats. Like, are you kidding me?
All right, next question. You get one night out in Lexington with a UK sports alum. Where are you going, and who are you going out with?
I have no idea. Like, what do you mean? Oh my gosh, I should have read these questions before. I'm going out. I mean.
Or you could play golf with them.
Yeah, it can be anywhere.
I guess I'll play golf with them, and whoever wants to play, just let me know.
I don't know. It can be any
I don't know
sport,
anyone.
anything.
Like, I don't know anyone.
She did say that she might have another team, but Kentucky winning the national championship.
Whoa. Quiet back there. I mean, I'm messing around, filling out a bracket. Like, I don't know. I mean,
Who do you have winning? We talked about it earlier. We already know, but.
Arizona. I think Arizona's going to win. Arizona, and I think I think it's Purdue that it comes down to. Arizona and Purdue. But Kentucky did make it to the Elite Eight, I think.
For you?
Yeah, for me.
I have Arizona and Purdue going out early, so we'll see.
One of us is right.
One of us is going to be way off.
I don't know. Who knows? It was just something fun to do, and I did some research. I didn't see a lot of Kentucky in the Final Four for anything, like Sports Illustrated or ESPN.
Really?
No. So,
They're not always right, though.
No,
Sometimes
you're right,
you just
you're
gotta go
right.
for it.
But, like, I was like, you know what? I like
Can you
these
tell us a little
chances.
about your fantasy football dub last fall?
Yes, let's go. I was with the boys. There's no money or anything on this, but some of the guys I worked with and play golf with at Columbia, we did this. They do this fantasy football like most guys do, whatever. And I'm like one of the bros in a way. And they were like, "Hey, Jensen, you want to join our fantasy?" I'm like, "Yeah, what is that?" I don't follow anything NFL related. Like, if it's not like an amateur, if it's not like regular football, like SEC football, I don't really care. And so I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I joined this fantasy. Everyone's like, oh, this is the easy win. I'm playing Jensen this week.
Bye week.
Yeah, seriously. Sure enough, I ended up doing really well. And all these guys are like, are you kidding me? Who let this girl join? I know they were a good sport about it, but it was super interesting. I don't even think I could tell you one person I chose, honestly.
Fantasy football or USAM? What's the bigger win?
I don't know. That's kind of
USAM
tough.
has a bigger trophy, but it's not always about the hardware.
Yeah, bragging rights with fantasy football, but to be the underdog in fantasy football, well, I was the underdog in both, in a way, but I guess the AM safe. Like, fantasy football is pretty big, though. Hold that close to my heart.
Feeling like you kind of maxed out with looking at your bracket, so.
I can't wait for Arizona to win, and me just, like, drill you, like, Arizona, like, you'll never hear the end of that, like,
All right, next question here. If you could be anyone that is currently living for a day, who would it be and why? It's a tough question.
I mean, why? Why these questions? I mean, I don't.
She's going to say Jensen Castle.
Yeah, I don't want to be anyone but myself. Like, I don't have anyone that I want to be. Obviously, I was myself for a reason. So, I mean, I don't know why I'd want to be someone else. Like,
yeah.
Very deep, thoughtful answer, but I wish I.
No, that's a good way. That's a good mindset, honestly. We talked about this a little on the course. So a fact that many people don't know about you is that you're actually colorblind, and you can't tell the difference between different shades of green. Which we learned this on the course, and I think it's wild.
We were jokingly going to ask her if she could, but she really can't.
Yeah.
So red and green, they got me good. Christmas sucks. 4th of July. But, I mean, also in a way, like, I've only grown up with seeing these colors. So I don't even know what I'm missing out on. You know what I mean?
So you don't know green.
I don't know what
That's
green. I
wild.
can't tell you what green looks like. You
Yeah.
know, like it's
And
not like I woke
we're
up
gonna
one
pop
day.
up that picture you showed me earlier, so they can see really
It's not
what
like
you're seeing.
It's not like I wake up one day and I'm like, oh my god, I can't see green anymore. Like, it's
Yeah.
fair enough. Okay, so yeah, I'm the second row compared to the first. So this one right here, and that's what normal people see. Oh, there you go. And I do have a colorblind filter on, so it's not very accurate because my abs are already kind of off. But I've always been colorblind, and I think it's a strength and weakness, especially with golf. Like, I don't overthink putting or reading grain or anything. You know, what you see is what you get type thing. But I wish I could say I knew what Christmas looked like in a way, but there's nothing I can change, so there's no point of drowning on it.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed you're pretty quick over the ball, especially on the putting green. Do you think is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about this earlier. Like,
Yeah.
I don't overthink. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the least. I don't think enough, unfortunately. So, yeah, sometimes it'd be helpful to think more than I do.
Yeah.
But also, not overthinking is definitely a pro, especially on putting green, because I feel like it is so easy to get in your head on putting, or just reading a green itself, because 50% speed, 50% line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a strength for sure.
Yeah. Is Christmas kind of knocked down in terms of your holiday rankings, or?
Christmas is not my favorite holiday. Is my birthday. I love my birthday so much. I mean, that sounds so self-centered and selfish, but if you know me, you know the history behind it, and I think that's such a cool day that everyone has their own. I don't know, like, I just feel loved on my birthday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, it's always been a day that, you know, everyone loves you and appreciates you and shows you, like, how much they mean to you in a way,
Yeah.
you know? I don't know, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not self-centered, though, I
Yeah.
promise.
Recently celebrated your 21st, right?
I did just recently
Awesome.
celebrate my 21st, so that was fun, for sure, on a Monday night.
There you go. So at this past year's UK-Florida game, this past football season, you were honored for your victory at the U.S. Women's Am. I was actually at that game, and I can say it was a pretty electric atmosphere. They beat a top 10 team at the time. Florida did not turn out to be that good, but it was a good game at the time, and I stormed the field after. But what was that? What was that experience?
Yeah, go Cats. No, please leave that. That is so quality content right there.
But what was that experience like, coming on the field in front of all those people and being honored like that?
Wow, it was chaotic, yet so amazing. I had no idea what to expect. You know, Mitch Barnhart was just telling me where to be, what to do. You know, I got bribed $20 that I'd throw down L's down, but I knew that would not go very well. So they showed this small clip of me winning, and
It was as good as that one, or?
no, that clip was A1. Like, that clip was amazing. I mean, it was quick. They showed me like a few putts, whatever. And then, like, everyone went crazy, and here I am sitting on the field holding my trophy up. I held it one-handed, which is impressive if you hold that trophy. Like,
it's very
you'll know.
impressive, yeah.
Next day, I woke up with, like, a huge crick in my neck on the other side. I'm like, what is this from? You know, it's definitely
Don't tell
a knot.
the doctor about that, yeah.
It's a knot from holding the trophy up. But that was probably one of the best games that I could have ever been recognized at. And to forever remember that, and the pictures I have from that, was something I'll never forget. Like, it was so special. And then for us to win like we did, like, you know, go Cats, whatever.
Yeah.
It was special.
Go Cats.
Yeah!
Oh, take the hat off. Come on.
He is wearing blue.
today.
Yeah, he is wearing blue. Like, I'll give him
You were
that.
getting grief in the clubhouse earlier about
I
it.
know,
On the putting
I
green.
really can't bring that back around.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
All right, final question here, Will.
Yeah. What was the biggest impact your win at this past year's U.S. Women's Am have, had on your golf game and really more broadly on your life?
Well, life, it's been very broad. A ton of opportunities, being into the Curtis Cup for 2 years in a row. Open, 10 U.S. Ams. A ton of opportunities, LPGA events.
Yeah.
That's so special.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, but just to know that I've been giving these opportunities and not to take those for granted. Like, that's super cool, especially at the age I'm at. For my life, it's been pretty eye-opening to see how many fake people there are in the world, honestly. I hate to say that, but, like, there's people that have talked crap to me, and next thing you know, I'm on their story for the AM, and it's just like, no, get off the fan bus. Like,
make us feel bad now.
No. I'm talking about, like, past.
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing to see. I mean, there's support, but, like, To a degree, you know,
Yeah,
when people
yeah.
are talking crap about you behind your back, and the next thing you know, it's just like,
Biggest
come on,
fan.
come on, bro. That's honestly how I feel.
Yeah.
But it was a ton of opportunities came from the AM, and it was just really cool to see like how much my life changed. Like everyone knows the name, you know,
Yeah.
nobody knows for the face really. They just hear Jensen Castle.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool to see, just especially with women's golf, like how many people actually paid attention to it, and to see some of the support you got from, you know, Big Blue Nation. Like just a ton of people were like, "Oh my gosh, like go Cats! Like this is huge.
Yeah.
This has brought awareness to Kentucky women's golf and the school in general. Just stuff like that. It's been really cool to see."
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, really excited to see how it continues to impact you and your life going forward. We talked about this a little on the course, and you can obviously be as forthright as you want or not, but what do you kind of see going forward in your future? And, you know, you've talked a lot to us about kind of your education, getting your MBA, and, you know, just kind of what are your thoughts on, you know, professional golf or, you know, doing something outside of golf?
So right now I'm going to get a double degree in marketing management, and then I'll get my MBA. Super broad, obviously, but, you know, I hope to own some type of business one day, probably golf related. I mean, could be associated. My name could not be. Who knows? As it goes for the LPGA, obviously I got 2 years. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things going on in the LPGA right now, and there's a lot of bad things. I think a lot of people don't realize how lonely it is on tour.
Really?
I mean, you spend so much time on tour, especially with females. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it'd be different if you had someone with you. Like the Cordas, they have each other. You know, that's cool to travel with your best friend.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other people, they don't have anyone. You know,
Yeah.
that's stressful. That's exhausting. You're gone so much. It's hard to
Yeah.
have a family. So there's a lot of outside factors that people don't notice. As right now, I don't have a definite decision because I don't know. Something could happen.
Yeah, definitely.
I could turn pro next year. Who knows?
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm going to enjoy my education and get my education, enjoy my time with my friends at school. Like,
That's awesome.
And I've learned so much from Kentucky women's golf. Like, you learn so much about golf. You learn so much about yourself in college. Like, I highly recommend anyone considering going to college to go just for a year or anything, just to learn about yourself.
Yeah.
By yourself. As it goes for the pro, who knows? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But whatever I'll do, I'll definitely have my education.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Keep an eye.
Yeah, and you can definitely relate in learning college golf. It's only been a semester for you, but
Yeah, there's definitely a steep learning curve. I've not played the way I wanted to, but I've definitely learned a ton. I have become better even if I'm not playing right now, just from my teammates and things like that. And I'm sure you can attest to that too.
I agree. But as of right now, I'm only going to focus on my education, what I can control, continuing to better myself every day on the golf course and off.
yeah. Tee to green blows
Tee to
up. Who
green.
knows? Let's go.
Start
Yeah.
this video production. I'll be hitting you guys up like, hey, how do I record this?
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming out here with us. We really
Thank
appreciate
you so much
it.
for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Maybe I'll
Hopefully, we can all pick up our games a
Yeah,
little bit.
maybe
for
we'll
next
play a little
time.
bit better. I think the podcast definitely was ahead of this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think next time we'll, know what we're doing. Me and Jackson were
Yeah.
kind of stressed
No,
about
I-
camera work. I don't think either of us brought our best stuff because of that. But
There was a lot of moving parts going on, that's for sure.
yeah.
But it was awesome. It was cool to see, especially from a podcast point of view. You know what I mean? Like I do this stuff. I don't see the video production. Like
Yeah.
that's something I want to do in the future. And the idea that you guys have about playing with your podcaster or
Yeah.
the person you're interviewing is brilliant. Like
Yeah.
you guys are doing a lot of great things. Maybe just hold the camera more next time. I'm just kidding.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we've definitely gotten influenced by, Zach Radford, like we already had, and people like GM Golf and Good, and, you and Meg are kind of doing a different thing, but it's definitely cool to bounce ideas and kind of
Yeah.
see how it looks from, different.
You and I had a lot of good conversations about that today, just in the comparison.
Yeah.
You guys do the same thing Megan and I do. Megan's just like you. She's a researcher.
What do we have the exact same,
Exact
like
same
meeting
setup.
schedule. Like
Yeah,
everything.
but it's been cool to just compare and contrast. That's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of good learning stuff that I learned today.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you guys for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah,
Blast.
for sure.
See you guys.
Welcome back, guys. Hope you enjoyed that podcast with Jensen. We've really enjoyed getting to know her. She's a super cool, super nice person, and crazy good at golf. I can confirm after playing with her in the match. And she told me later on, since I've been back, that, ready for a rematch, and she didn't play too well, which I was shocked to hear after seeing her knock it around. But yeah, I really enjoyed the episode personally. The main thing for me, I love hearing her about, what she thinks about on the golf course, her mental game. It's such a strength. I don't even know if she realizes it. Like, I've struggled with that for a while. It's getting better, but very jealous of her and the way she, is so confident and so locked in on the golf course. And I've really enjoyed, picking her brain, learning about that. So yeah, I hope you guys, got something from that and enjoyed some of the other content. And, again, please drop a like and hit that subscribe button so that we can continue to travel, meet up with our guests, play matches, and make awesome content. Again, we got some awesome stuff coming up soon. By the time this episode drops, I'll probably be heading to North Carolina to film with another super prominent amateur female golfer, actually one of Jensen's very close friends, and then coming back to Nashville to film with some guys here. So really excited. We got so much coming up. I have some big tournaments on the schedule. Need to get the game in shape. If you've seen the match video already, you can tell I need some work. But thanks again for watching. Really hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya.